Yuan Tong Ling Ming. It's time for the Yuan Ming Free Flow web class again. And we have arrived at our first of the 20 behavioral patterns. Of the 30 patterns, or actually of the 35 patterns that we have received from Janse in a more detailed description. So, since this is the first pattern of the 20 patterns, well, maybe I should explain for some of you who are not yet long students of Renshe, what I mean with the 35 patterns. And it's good for all of us who are since a long time in Renshe to have a little reminder. And before I go into the explanation about the patterns, I'd like to share something on a personal note, just about the chi field, because it's the first of the 20 patterns. So there has, in the last 10 classes, who were about the 10 fundamental patterns, there's a little, a natural structure has appeared to be happening, simply to the fact that there is a lot of information about the patterns in text given by Janse. And for now, I had chosen to read out this information. We will continue to work on patterns in the Yuan Ming Free Flow web class, simply because patterns are the most important thing to work on in life if we are interested in experiencing the state of being relaxed, the state of freedom of the torture of emotions that feel uncomfortable or scary or are disturbing our lives. And so the structure that had appeared is leading us to today, to this moment, right now, where actually something new will happen, because there's only 2 pages and maybe 3 pages in 2 of the 20 patterns to read out. So we have way more time for practice and, well, simply information that's in the chi field. And there won't be that much time in me reading out a text. And because before we started with the 30 patterns, I actually read out a lot of Tong Yuan, the 7th method. So there is no more structure again today. And whenever I tried to draw information from the chi field or my consciousness about how today's web class is gonna go, I have to rely on the name of the class today, Free Flow. I had to wait until this moment of looking into what to talk about. And I have to say, I really enjoy the process, because I can now see for myself how trust has grown in the last 3 to 4 years of teaching for me. Well, of course, one thing is clear, like everything, the level of trust in my Shin Ling, so in my heart consciousness or my consciousness, my Shen, since we can't really separate Shin Ling, the heart consciousness, from our Shen, from our true consciousness, because it's a totality. We only work with concepts to be able to work with language. So it seems like the heart and the head are two separated units, Shen Yi and Shin Ling. But not really. They also are not in two different places within the chi field that we are. The body, the chi, and the information aspect, the Shen aspect. So they aren't separate. Got a bit distracted, not by anything, just by the information, right? The trust within myself. I'm really able to see a change there because I so fully trusted that information will come, and I so fully trusted the chi field, and my purpose in this life, the most meaning I get from living my life is to teach Ren Shi. We can also cross out the words Ren Shi and just call it teaching consciousness, teaching everyone, including myself, how to gain more wisdom, how to attain more wisdom, so we all as a humanity can live in a way that we can feel more secure, less insecure, more relaxed, happy, a happiness without excitement. So teaching this is not so easy, as I'm finding out, and as many people are finding out who are teaching this. So we can exchange the words Ren Shi with simply teaching wisdom cultivation. We don't want to get lost too much in a system, in a in a organization that is only a name. The name only means it is an accumulation of humans who feel something inside, who feel that there is something inside that makes us look for something, that tells us, there must be more to my life than the things I got to know when I was a child and that I got taught when I was a child. Not that those things are unnecessary or bad in any way. It only means there's something inside of us that we are longing for, a the sense of freedom that we receive when we are in a relaxed, calm, and natural state. The sense of inner peace, to really experience this inner peace. And so to come back to a place with the web classes today where there is no forgiven structure yet is a really comfortable place now. It used to be that the unknown was, really scaring me in a way, making me insecure, making me worried that I will not find my words. Some of you who have been learning with me together for many years now know that of me, that I, before I teach, often have these worries that I won't know what to say, or I won't find anything to say, or um, won't find the right words. And well, this has progressed. So I'm kind of really happy. And right now, the chi field is quite magical, actually. Magical is only, it's just, again, another word, another definition. The chi field is clear, it is present, the chi is flowing in. And if you're relaxed already, you can maybe feel it flowing in through everywhere where there is your skin, everywhere where we usually identify with this being our boundary of me, the I, the self. The chi from the universe already is flowing into us, is already penetrating those from us determined boundaries. And the love and the support of the universe already is streaming into us. All we need to do is to open and gently put the awareness there. Feel your hands. You can do that with open eyes. Can you feel the chi feel flowing in your palms and the back of your hands, your fingertips? Can you feel it flowing into your chest or your upper arms? Your back, your face, your feet? Maybe you feel a little bit like as if there is water pressing into you from all directions. And then try and open yourself so it can flow in. Let it flow in and penetrate you deeply. It is simply the chi of the universe that always flows into us, if we are aware or not. But through our awareness, we can increase that flow. I truly enjoy having this time with you right now, this time for going back to the basics in a way, because there is no structure, there is no huge amount of pages I need to get through to keep it all a little bit in a certain time frame. We all are living our lives, and even a web class has to happen in a certain time frame. And that she is so wonderful, so lovely, and the information of the universe is streaming in too. And trusting the guidance of the G field and the universe is such a lovely way of being. So, of course, in your case, since you are the listener and I am the one who speaks, why would that have to concern you right now? All the things that I'm saying. Is there such a big difference between the listener and the speaker? Are we not all, you and me, part of the here and now, part of this totality? Would I be a speaker if I wouldn't have a listener? This actually does fit to the topic of today's web class, exaggerating and debasing, because we humans, we tend to fall into either exaggerate or debasing, exaggerate ourselves, the way we see ourselves towards others, or debasing ourselves towards others, or we exaggerate other one's behaviors, or we debase other people's behavior, or dogs, or the universe. So we can exaggerate or debase anything, really. And this comes from that separation that we make with our minds, with our intelligence, that things have to be separated. Maybe some of you think that the listener, the student, is less special than the speaker or the teacher. But no speaker, no teacher would be in the position of being that if there wouldn't be a listener. This does not have to be an aspect of everybody's consciousness, but if you like, you can have a look into if you're finding some way inside of yourself or somewhere inside of yourself that this is an aspect that someone else might be more special than you or less special. That would be one of the manifestations of this pattern today, exaggerating and debasing. And I'm just amazed. The information is just flowing now from the universe. It's coming, and well, from the universe, it's also coming from within me, from within my understanding and all the work I've done. But I would like to come back to the little overview about patterns, because I remembered just this moment that this is something that I said a few minutes ago, and often the moments from before, when we're so unified in the chi field, then often I don't really remember what I said a few moments ago, but I remembered now. So a short overview of patterns and what they are. Patterns are basically information that cruise around our whole self in an automatic way through the chi channels. And also, they are even manifested within the neurological pathways, our brain cells, and the connections of our brain cells forming a whole network. So this is what we call neurological pathways. Human life is organized by patterns to a big degree. Your heartbeat is one pattern. Your breath is a pattern. So there is not only unhealthy patterns, there's also very healthy patterns. For example, if you are someone who practices Qigong, Yuan Gong regularly, that would be a healthy pattern, because you regularly connect with yourself, your inside. You regularly connect with your internal awareness. You regularly connect with the chi field, the reality that there is chi and that there is a chi field, the reality that there is a universe that holds original chi for you to draw in, to increase your own amount of chi and also the flow of your chi inside of you, as well as the regularity of improving information of your chi. So the information of your own chi, because you keep drawing in the original chi of the universe. And that chi in the universe far out there is not yet separated, is not yet split up into two, is not yet split up into duality, is not yet split up into light and dark and up and down and left and right, warm and cold, etc., etc., etc. And if it's not split up in two, those two also are split up again. So light is split up in two, a little bit lighter and a little bit darker. Just like dark is also split up in a little bit darker and a little bit lighter dark. So we end up with 10,000 things or a trillion things. And very often the information within human consciousness and on the planet is like that. It is very, very integrated in many things, many aspects, many experiences, many occurrences, many aspects involved. So into every situation, there is many situations involved. There is situations from the past involved, from the right now involved, from everywhere, from many places. So practicing Yuan Gong is a very healthy pattern because you increase all of that, the amount of qi, the flow of qi, and the quality, aka the information within yourself. And this is where we um, come up to the point where we also ask, where is the information coming from? Yes, from our surroundings. And we've looked into that in the last 10 classes a lot. We always looked into the backgrounds and origins. Yeah, so where has information started to be this type of information, whatever information it is about an unhealthy pattern? We've looked into environment. We have looked into family, into education. We have looked into general factors. Um, there is always the relationship and friends, peers, working relationships factor as well. And then there's the personal factor. Yeah. So basically everything, where does the information come from? So, and all of the information that gathers also gathers or manifests as unhealthy information sometimes. And when this information is repeatedly experienced through seeing, hearing, or experiencing a situation, living a situation, then it becomes automated, automatic, automated like your heartbeat by your consciousness. You don't need to think about pumping your heart, right? So this is your consciousness doing that. On some level of your consciousness, this is integrated into the laws of human life, and it keeps pumping and pumping and pumping. So is your breath. So are the reactions of your immune system to incoming pathogens or internal pathogens. So is your responses to other inputs like sounds, smells, visions. So the healthy patterns as well as the unhealthy patterns are basically an automatic form. It has become automated. It's something that just happens within us due to many, many reasons. Yeah. So all the information, where it comes from and so on, those are the reasons. And the more you're looking into yourself, the more you will find out that so much of you is basically functioning like a robot, like a machine. But you aren't a machine. See, there is mechanics within us, the mechanics of the universe. Sorry, wrong word. What I meant was mechanisms. So it is a mechanism, right? So your skeletal bones, your skeleton, your bones are holding up the flesh and the ligaments and the organs in place, and all of that is sort of also surrounded by skin. And that all is organized by life itself. So by the laws of the universe, right? You would not walk upright if you wouldn't have any bones. So everything is sort of integrated into these laws. And so also are the laws for your consciousness. Human consciousness functions in a certain way. And the more we know about it, the more we find out how much we are running on autopilot, so to speak. And the more we work with these unhealthy patterns and the more understanding we gain about them, the more we understand that very often our decisions aren't actually our decisions. We are just being like this puppet, hanging on strings, doing what old information that has become automatic is determining how we behave today. So more and more we are finding out how very much not free we actually are, and how much of the information that seems to influence us is actually coming from inside. So this is why we are doing so much work with the patterns. And I have received a very wonderful sharing this week over, and it's someone who started the level 1 training. So this person has decided to do a personal retreat, make a personal retreat out of it, and do it in 2 weeks, like the real teachers training is done in Renshe, level 1. And usually he's always with us in this class, or always, but often. And so I actually did want to wait to read out, because there's his sharing, because there is a very interesting topic in that. And I thought today we have loads of time, and now the Chi field has carried me somewhere else. And I will talk about this next time, but this is already part of the question, or what I want to talk about, because he stated that there's not so much Ling Yuan space in his life, in his day. So Ling Yuan is the 8th method, right? And he doesn't feel that big of a drive just yet, only when he's doing the web class here, the free flow. So because we're a bit back to the basics today, this fits very well into it. So the methods 1 till 4, or actually methods 1 till 6, and also methods 1 till 7, when we are really going into detail, they are actually all preparation for someone to be able to do this type of work, the work on the unhealthy patterns. Method 1 till 4 in Yuan Gong will, and also the supplementary exercises like pulling qi, qi squats, rubbing qi, yong dong fa, and rou qi. So method 1 till 4 plus the supplementary exercises are actually exercises that will work on different types of qi of your body, so physical qi, and strengthen your body and heal your body and adjust your body, realign your body, transform your body. Um, but also the chi, and of course, partially the consciousness, because everything is connected. Methods 4, 5, and 6 are mostly working on your chi on very deep levels. Method 4 is still a little bit of a physical exercise, so you move a little bit, but your focus goes more deeper internal, and you're using sounds. Method 6 and 7 are then only, 5 and 6 are then Qigong methods, who work on specific Qi channels that aren't worked on, mostly aren't worked on in 1 till 4. And then but those methods sort of thing prepare your body and your consciousness so you will be able to practice method 7, the Tong Yuan, better or in a deeper state, so more effective. And then you will be able to do, Ling Yuan, to practice Ling Yuan. Facing the patterns of our consciousness isn't all that easy. So first of all, like we have found out the last 10 classes, there a lot of, studying to do, really, because we need to have an overall understanding about the patterns itself. It makes it way easier to recognize them inside of ourselves. And that's the really most important thing. We need to recognize the patterns in ourselves, because if we only recognize them in other people, well, we can't change them in the other people. We can only change it within ourselves. Again, there's no absolute to that either, right? Because when you work on your own patterns and you recognize them inside of yourself, of course you will recognize them in others as well. And when you do your own work, then of course you will influence your surroundings differently. And that's why you will influence other people differently. And when you do this healthy work, then of course you influence them in a supportive, healthy way, in a helpful way for their own life. So sure, we are sort of changing patterns in others as well, but this is always up to the other person how much, on how far that goes. But we certainly can inspire them and add some information, but what they do with it is up to them. But with us, with ourselves, it's up to us. It's up to ourselves. And because of, in particular, one pattern of the 10 fundamental patterns, the avoiding and hiding, this is a mechanism in itself, a mechanism of our consciousness in itself. And that aspect is, an aspect of the mind that thinks it needs to keep us away from all danger. And due to many, many reasons, so the reasons of history and the reasons of survival and the reasons of needing to be part of society as human being, yeah, we 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 want to hide away or avoid these aspects and seeing them inside of ourselves. And also our own consciousness is trying to hide it from ourselves because it determines that it's dangerous, maybe, to show a weak side or to look at this, or it's dangerous for the mind or for the false self because it seems hurtful or it's painful information. So it is kept away from our awareness. But remember, when when the information is inside there, that's when we are the puppet with all the strings, and we're just like, we're being we're being puppets to our scared mind. So to face the patterns and to do the pattern work is the only way how we will ever have a constant, stable state of being that is relaxed, calm, and natural. It's the only way we will have a sort of freedom that is true or a real freedom. Yeah. And so there is the 5 patterns on the heart level: a lack of trust, a lack of openness, a lack of love, a lack of gratitude, and a lack of gongqing, true respect and humility. Gongqing is actually a composite unit of many, many aspects: compassion, respect, patience, um, empathy, humility. Yeah, so it's a sense of awe. Um, so Gongqing is a very complex quality, so to speak. But so is love when we look at it. And if you've done some Tong Yuan, the 7th method, then you know it's quite complex. And as well, trust is very complex, etc., etc. So when we come along to so these are the 5 patterns on the heart level. And then we have 10 fundamental patterns of the consciousness. And how can we understand that to the 20 more patterns that we're starting to work on today? We could say that the 20 patterns that we start on working today are sort of a manifestation of the 10 fundamental patterns. And you will see when we go through them one by one and we look at them in more detail, you will see that they are very closely related to the fundamental patterns. And so you can understand them as this is what you will rather experience or be aware of. So maybe you will not be aware of that right now you are under the influence of the unhealthy pattern of the fighting for dominance and the desire for victory or competitiveness. You might feel jealousy or envy, or you might actually exaggerate and debase. So those are more the actions coming from it. And so this is why Janse has, staged them a little bit like this, so we can see how fundamental patterns can be, and then how they are manifesting. Because it is easier very often to see, so to observe and to become aware of, to recognize in ourselves what we do and what we feel, how we behave. Yeah, so we also call them the behavioral patterns. In the end, they are very connected. So again, we don't really need to know all these things, but it's good to have a good understanding We just need to take care of each pattern. If we want to be free, that is. Yeah. And the interesting part here when we go into these 20 patterns from now on is that there is 3 types of aspects. And the 3 types of aspects are: one is the main abnormal unhealthy manifestations. So the main abnormal unhealthy manifestations. Then the second aspect is the main causes of the pattern and other related patterns and their manifestations. I will repeat that. The main causes of the patterns and the other related patterns and their manifestations. So what other patterns are really, related to that pattern we look at. And then we have the third aspect, and that is the relatively healthier consciousness and relatively healthier behavioral pattern that we can use for transformation and replacement. Because that's the secret of pattern work. You cannot not function through patterns, yeah, because then you would have to cut out your brain, your neurological pathways, and your nervous system, and your heart, and your immune system, and your digestive system, etc., etc. So, how do we live without all of that? Well, not. So, since we humans function through the laws of human life, we function through the law of patterns. We are patterns. Yeah? So if we want to be free of the unhealthy patterns, what do we need to do? We need to establish healthy patterns. So replace the unhealthy patterns with the healthy patterns. And I know many of you have heard this 100 times, but I think it's sometimes good. Well, at least I need it. I hope you do need that too, a repetition of something, of this awareness altogether, because pattern work isn't so easy to face always, and especially with the behavioral patterns. So the next 20 classes, it can sting a little bit to look at oneself so honestly and to find out when and where you are exaggerating in your life, or when and where you are debasing yourself or others. So let's go ahead and let's unify with the chi field a bit more, so that we are basically starting our Yuan practice now. And then after we have done the preparation, so the relaxation and the chi field building, we will basically extend the chi field building, and I will read out the information for the pattern. And after the pattern, we are going into the practice of Yuan. But the building of the chi field and the listening to the information is a part of Yuan practice. Yeah. You can do it at home. You can do it a bit differently. You only do the relaxation, the chi field building, and then you practice the silent sitting and the observation and allowing your heart and your Shen, your consciousness, to bring you information that you need to work with to bring you memories from your life that are associated with that pattern, manifestations of your life. And you can read the information before, or you don't need to read the information every time you practice. The practicing part is important. You just need to read the information when you can't gain any more information anymore, and when or when you feel like you have no access to that information. But usually all you need to do is trust that today, when you have the intention to work with exaggerating and debasing, today, whatever day that is, you have the intention to work with this particular pattern. And so you have the intention in the chi field and inside of yourself, which is the same because you and the chi field are one. And with this intention, your Shen, which has this infinite access to all information in the universe, to all your experiences, it's not your mind that needs to remember, it's your Shen, your consciousness, and that it will bring you information that is related. And then you need to trust that information coming up and allow more connections of other types of information to come up about it. And I mean, we've gone through this process about how to do it. But yeah, so when you are practicing at home, you can just simply rely on this information that you've heard today and trust that you have heard it. And from now on, your heart and your consciousness will take over and will show you what disturbs your life. How is exaggerating and debasing, in today's case, involved in your life? And where are you doing it? Or when are you doing it? How is it manifesting? And then you will also receive information of how to replace it. Okay, so go ahead, please sit up if you can and look straight forward. And draw your vision back. Closing your eyes gently. Relax your whole body. Relax. Relax your head and face. Relax your shoulders. Relax your arms, your hands, and your fingers. Relax your chest. your upper back, relax your abdomen and lower back. Relax your pelvis. Relax your legs and feet. Relax from top all the way to the bottom. And allow your awareness to identify as being chi. You are an accumulation of chi. That means that you are an accumulation of information, energy, and material. Connect with the internal space. It's vast and bright, and you have turned into chi completely. Expand your awareness out. Keep expanding. Keep expanding. Becoming one with the chi of the universe. Becoming one with the wisdom of the universe. Keep expanding. You have become one with Yuan Chi and Yuan Shen. Allow your awareness to come back to the center of the universe. This is you. And chi and the information of love and wisdom is gathering inside. Gathering inside. Getting denser and brighter throughout the whole practice now. Keep allowing the chi to stream in and allow the information about the pattern of exaggerating and debasing to go in deeply. The pattern of exaggerating and debasing refers to the mentality and behavior of knowingly or unknowingly overstating, aggrandizing, and exaggerating, or understating, excessively downplaying, or putting others down. So the abnormal and unhealthy manifestations of exaggerating and debasing can either be the mentality, so a way of thinking about something, or a behavior. And this can happen knowingly or unknowingly. And this is to overstate or to aggrandize or to exaggerate or to understate, excessively downplay, or to put others down. We have a few examples here. And the first example is a funny one. Your fart is so bad, the smell of it can linger for hours. And my fart is hardly noticeable. So Janse brought this example about a fart in that to make us see how interestingly we are in small little things we can be involved in this pattern of exaggerating and debasing. Another example is, I am not fighting with you, I am only passionately reasoning with you. Another example is, you went to a concert performed by an old friend tonight. And although everyone thought it was a great show, you did not think it was that great. Rather, you thought that if you had had the same opportunity, you would have done better. Another example is, you feel pleasure and satisfaction when you criticize others or when you put others down. Have you ever caught yourself talking about someone and putting them down in a way? Very often what follows is, I'm not being mean, I am just saying. Or, and the pleasure you feel there, not a satisfaction. Another example can be, he may seem very successful, but he is actually very low functioning when it comes to hands-on things in everyday life. So someone may seem very successful in the world, but when it comes down to things that are actually important for everyday life, like cleaning your clothes or cooking or repairing, making a house, I guess, a shelter, um, um, then it's like low functioning. Or keeping your health up is maybe even more important than any of the things that I brought up. Is being able to keep yourself healthy, and maybe when you are hurting, to help yourself, when you are in physical pain, when you are sick, helping yourself. Would you describe this as a everyday life? How about being angry or being worried, being having to rush into everything? How is that about hands-on thing for everyday life? So isn't that low functioning? How is that being successful? These things are worth the thought, no? Worth to think about. So where do we knowingly or unknowingly overstate, aggrandize, or exaggerate things in our society, things in our value system, things in ourselves, in our behavior? And where do we understate, make it less important or seem less important? Where do we excessively downplay something? Or where do we put others down? How often do you hear yourself saying, when someone asks you, "How are you?" and you're saying, "I'm fine," although you're really sad? Or how often when, you know, when you are in pain and someone says, "How are you feeling now?" Or, um, you know, "Do you need some help?" And you say, "Oh, no, no, I can do it." And so we would see the downplaying here, we would see the debasing here, but can we also see the exaggeration in it? You know, isn't that also an aggrandizing oneself? When we say, "No, no, I'm okay, I'm fine," aren't we making ourselves something that we are not? Aren't we aggrandizing the situation? So this pattern makes us unable to hold a fair and objective view towards ourselves and also towards other people or towards other things. Yeah, we can't see ourselves fairly anymore. We can't see ourselves objective anymore. We might not see the other people either. So, for example, are we humans grandizing or excessively exaggerating or overstating a criminal, someone who has done something to us, hurt us, or has stolen from us, or, you know, um, betrayed us. If we can simply just forgive a person because we trust that this person has had their reasons, knowingly or unknowingly, we know that this person simply acts through their patterns, very automatic fear responses, very automatic responses to some painful experiences in the past, not being loved enough, not being educated enough about how to help yourself, how to communicate from the heart, how to express yourself. So you express yourself in stealing, lying, cheating. Do we not exaggerate when we have to do with such a person? Do we not exaggerate their badness? Do we not exaggerate their awfulness? Is this to judge someone to be awful or to be a criminal? Do we not exaggerate at all? There is so much food for thought within this one phrase, right? That the pattern makes us unable to hold a fair and an objective view towards ourselves and towards others. So, towards ourselves, is it not unfair to ourselves to see ourselves as a victim and then to feel like when we have been stolen from that we have lost something? How do we know we didn't gain something? When we exaggerate, is it not exaggerating that, you know, when we're out there and we're all like, yeah, I'm great. What does it mean to be great? You know, what does it mean to be in a great state? Is it not great to be relaxed and calm? Do we really have to be upbeat and in a good mood all the time? How can this not lead to exhaustion? How is this not exaggeration? So here's a few related pattern to this exaggerating and debasing. A related pattern means that it's related in some form. It could be the patterns that you hear about now, they could be a cause for the exaggerating and debasing to show up. It could be a reason, or it related could also mean that because we exaggerate and debase a lot, we experience one of those related patterns to come a lot. So let's look at the related patterns. Avoiding and hiding. Competitiveness, so fighting for dominance and desire for victory. So information for me just rolled for me personally. I'm happy to share it. So for example, for me, I know how I used to speak about Renshe in the past, and I am still having to work on it because for me this is still the most effective way. And well, it can be a lot of reasons that okay, this is working for me and the other systems beforehand I tried to use didn't work. And so I'm very tempted to aggrandize Renshe, you know, just to make it into this amazing thing. I will look into that more. I just, unfortunately, for now, all I can see it is this great thing. I've tried so many other things to help myself to gain this relaxed, calm, and natural state. It's all about that, right? Gaining and being able to be in a relaxed, calm state, a natural state in which we don't need to fight, don't need to, we're just happy and relaxed and all is fine. This state. And so, how is this not the fighting for dominance? So, it's my own insecurity about trying to reach other people and have them see, you know, can you see how wonderful that is? Please do the work, please do the work. Instead of being in the state of trust and just being, and then trusting that they see how I feel and they will come. So that would be the replacement information. Yeah. So can you see sometimes Ling Yuan can happen that quickly? Like now just information popped up and I just allowed it to follow in the consciousness and followed it up like breadcrumbs. And you came with me on that journey because I voiced it out loud. So can you see how the desire for victory, so deep inside of me, the wish to have more students, yes, coming from the wish to help more people, but it still is also a desire for victory, you know, my insecurity that I have increased through the avoiding and hiding for so many years of um, not wanting to take responsibility or um, the fear of being known as a consciousness teacher because there's so much information out there. I mean, there's, who are really, especially in mainstream consciousness, who seem to have something against people who work on their spirituality or do them off as nutcases. And there's just as many people who are completely clear on that, consciousness work and wisdom development, the work on developing wisdom is important and they are interested in that and they are committed to that. So, can you see how our own insecurities and our own fears make us often exaggerate something or even belittle others, right? Like then well, I guess today, just call them the stupid idiots or something. That would be me. Okay. I hope I'm not disturbing your own process too much right now. I'm just trying to help you um, get a little bit of an example for how this process could be when you're looking into exaggerating and debasing. So, more related patterns are making unnecessary comparison, you thinking you have to be like someone else, and that's why you are debasing yourself, or that's why you are trying to become more famous, or whatever, something like that. Unfounded suspicion, polarized thinking, self-centeredness, fixed expectations, stubbornness, overgeneralization, negativity and pessimism, double standards, approval seeking, the urge to control, envy and jealousy, to be tormented by loss and gain, to have resentment and wanting revenge, and to responding with negative emotions. So let's just take this example of some form of what humanity calls a criminal, or the society has calls a criminal, and a few of those patterns. So when you exaggerate that something has been done to you that wasn't supposed to be done to you, can you see that that's how you are responding with negative emotions, because you feel treated unfairly, you feel treated um, not righteous, you feel treated badly. So you are in a negative state right away because you determine that this was not supposed to be done to you. Well, you are responding with negative emotions here, and definitely you are negative, you know, instead of saying, hmm, hmm, okay, this has happened to me. Maybe this needed to be happening. Maybe this had to happen to me for whatever reason. Maybe I don't know that yet, but it happened. So, can I trust it? Can I win something out of this situation? Can I use it for, instead of exaggerating me, the victim, can I forgive, or do I choose the other pattern, resentment and revenge? Now I want to give it back. So when someone has hurt you, you're gonna hurt them back now. Is that gonna make it good? Is that gonna balance? Is that gonna create balance? Now he's in a negative state, or she, and you are in a negative state. And how is that the balance? You can try that out with, you having 5 apples and someone steals an apple from you. You can play the whole scenario with that. You won't have any problems forgiving that person. Maybe even you find out that that person was very hungry and you have 5 apples and this person steals 1 apple from you. How bad can that be? And you will be having no more problem needing not needing to exaggerate or debase that person. So exaggerating your own victimhood and debasing them, oh, what a bad criminal. But how is it with being stabbed or being raped or being threatened with your life, for example? Well, I have never been threatened with a gun, but I can only imagine this must be very scary. I have not been in that situation, but there's real trauma coming from that, or a bomb, has ripped off your leg. So many people seem to have to experience this still. Can you see how it comes back to the way you respond in your thinking determines how you respond in your feeling? And these informations, your responses, they are inside of you and they trigger a certain state of being. And also, since you are like a transmitter, you transmit, you send out this information. You're sending out this information everywhere. I should say, sorry, we are sending out this information. Can you see that you have the power in your hand to be so forgiving that you say, okay, it has happened. What to do? I can't undo it anymore. Am I going to respond with any of these patterns? Do I need to avoid to show how hurt I am? No, but do I need resentment and hate and revenge? No. Also, these are my answers. Sorry, you need to find out your own answers. Nobody says you need to say, I was not hurt by something like that. Or, you don't need to hide that you were stolen from or so on in our scenario. But, you don't know what that person has gone through. And, you know, we cannot say in this situation, but the other pattern, for example, making unnecessary comparison, meaning you cannot say, well, I would have never done that. You can't compare your own life with someone else's. We need to trust that this person somehow got into that situation. And yes, we're not condoning, we're not condoning someone stealing, raping, or killing, or bombing. Mm, we we just we do these things in the smaller version, maybe, or maybe you are someone who's doing it in that version. You still are allowed to, be here and be with us and learn and clear yourself from life, clear this from your life. And so, um, how can we humans ever get out of these hurtful pasts we all have? I mean, if you believe in, if you can sort of identify with that concept that um, we take on as a perspective in Renshu about past lives you have lived before. Your consciousness stores information while you are alive within the body, and then you are alive within a non-physical form as information and chi only while you transition from one body to the next. And you also gather information and process information then. And then you come in with all of that information from before. So you have lived many lifetimes. You have been men and you have been women. And if you cannot identify with this concept yet, with this understanding yet, then You can identify with, you have parents, so you have a generation living beforehand that has given life to you, and they have experienced things, and via genetics, they gave forth that information to you in some ways. Yeah. The times are over that we don't correlate physical things to emotional pain, emotional experiences, and um, the way and how it influences how we think. Yeah. So, how could stubbornness be related to this scenario I've brought up today? How could this be related? The stubbornness to, no, I do not forgive. Rape is a very, very bad offense, and it's a monster. How is it with sexual abuse of children, of teenagers, of grown-ups? Is there really a limit to what we can forgive so we can live free again? Is this not self-centeredness to keep staying a victim and keep allowing trauma to determine our lives? Our false self is so powerful in telling us that our story, our pain is so important, and everything else, you know, is not as important. How is this not exaggeration? How is it not debasing others? So I'm starting to feel more clarity in the Chi field now. There was a lot of, I don't know what to do with this pattern in the Chi field as information. I hope um, you can now gain more more understanding of how to work with this in your life. Um, so just remember, you have the handouts. You can read up on this again or email me and ask me about these handouts. Which brings us to the replacement information, the healthier consciousness, the healthier behaviors, the healthier patterns that we can, transform into and replace the old ones, the unhealthy ones with. And for this, go ahead and connect with the space of your heart. Connect with the Wu Xin, the 5 Xin qualities, the 5 heart qualities. Connect with the quality of trust. Heaven, earth, and human are all teachers with infinite wisdom and love. I open my heart. I open the door to my heart to receive their love and wisdom unconditionally. With gratitude, my Shen, Yi, and Shin are fully aligned with the light of Tao. So my consciousness, my heart, my whole self are fully aligned with the laws of the universe. With Gongqing, realization and wisdom are arising. And I am one with the light of the wisdom of the universe. Feel into your heart space, your Xinling, your heart consciousness space. Allow it to expand upwards, to become one with the space of your head, the seat of your consciousness. Enjoy the silence inside of you. Enjoy the calmness, the beautiful calmness. Enjoy this relaxedness inside and the spaciousness, this wonderful space inside, the peacefulness. Connect with the trust. You can replace the patterns. You can change. Be open to the change. Love the changes that are coming. Love yourself. Love all the others no matter what. Be grateful for what you have in your life. The things you want to have and the things you don't want to have. Also be grateful for the things you don't have and want so much. Maybe that's a good thing. And be in the state of humility towards how amazing the universe is. How you are a human being. You have the power inside of your heart to be free of suffering. If you don't exaggerate your hurts and you don't debase your needs, you can feel Gongqing, the love and compassion and the amazing, incredible awe, how wonderful human life is. And cultivate those 5 heart qualities, especially Gongqing and love. This will help you build the foundation that is necessary for working on this pattern. Also, work on its related patterns. You can always use one technique and one attitude. We have learned about that in one of the classes. One technique and one attitude can be used to help one see things more clearly and develop a new pattern for viewing everything. Yeah. The one technique is to find out the truth of the situation. Talk to all the people involved in one situation. Don't just go after your own perspective. Look and think about how the others feel or might feel. And the attitude is to approaching it with honesty, every situation. Free yourself of having to belittle others or yourself. It is important to understand that the world we see, whether the world we see is good or bad, beautiful or ugly, it is really important to understand that this is largely the reflection and projection of our heart and our consciousness. So your own heart and your own consciousness, its reflection and its projection. When we are not very happy about what we see, it is advisable to go inward and to search for the root inside. Another way that is relatively healthier to replace this pattern with the unhealthy one is learn to accept yourself. Accept the whole of you, including the parts that you dislike or even hate, and the parts that you don't want to look at. Fully accept the totality of your life. It is important to know that flattering yourself and putting down others will eventually lead to self-debasement and putting yourself down. It is important to truly realize that you and I and everyone and everything are not fundamentally different. Treating other people well is treating ourselves well. And treating ourselves well is making the world a better place. I will repeat this. Treating ourselves well is making the world a better place. Please take time for your practice, take time for yourself. Don't compare yourself with others or worry about what they might think that you're doing this work now. Take time and space to treat yourself well. This is how you help the world so incredibly a lot. This is how you are living a purposeful life. Treating ourselves well is making the world a better place. The world is a totality and an indivisible one. Now allow yourself to trust all the information will do something with you. that will uplift your life. And then open yourself and allow yourself to sink into the silence. There will be thoughts. Of course, there will be thoughts. Simply observe them. Look at them, be with them, and let them pass by. Do you recognize exaggerating and debasing in your life? How does this exaggerating and debasing manifest in your life? What are the manifestations? How does it manifest? What are the experiences? What are the causes? Why are you exaggerating and debasing? How has this come to be? And how did it develop that this is happening now in your life? And why are you belittling yourself or others? How did this happen? Why is this still happening? What are the explanations of your mind, of your false self? What are those false explanations that are the reasons that you are still doing it, still thinking it, still have these perspectives and opinions and act upon them? And what are the possible negative effects if you don't allow yourself to make the change? If you don't allow the change, what are the possible negative effects if you don't change, if you don't replace? Now, what is your intention in regard of what to do with this pattern of exaggerating and debasing? And what are the possible replacement patterns? What's information that can be used to replace your opinion of self? What can heal your insecurity so you can be relaxed, calm, and natural? No need to exaggerate or debase yourself or others. Now go through the 5 shin. Go through the Wu Shin, the 5 heart qualities to accept and affirm the new information, the healthy replacement. Accept it. From now on, let it be there with you. Let it be you. Accept it and affirm it through trust, openness, love, gratitude, and Gongqing. Allow yourself to go into these states one by one and connect it to the new information you found. And whenever you're ready, draw gene information back and finish your practice. Whenever you feel ready. Yuan Tong Ling Ming.